The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody. Good crack of noon to our friends on the East Coast. I am Todd Obert, CEO and President of Productive Corporation. Joined alongside me here, our Strategic Account Manager at Duo, Mr. Brian Atchison. Brian is from Duo, and those guys are headquartered in Ann Arbor. That's the other U of M, I like to say, since I'm in Minnesota. He's down in Dallas, though, so he knows his football. He knows what to expect. He doesn't know what's going to happen in the Big Ten. But what he does know for sure is that today we're going to talk about Duo Beyond and Beyond the Perimeter. So if you have been on our broadcast in the past, you know how we like to roll. We like to meet productive in 1 minute, and then we like to get right into the tech. Brian's going to talk about Duo, what Beyond the Perimeter means with MFA, what the new trust model looks like, and then he's going to show us some of the cool stuff that's in Duo. We found that there's a lot of folks out there that have either used RSA or been required to use some sort of multi-factor tool. We're seeing it move beyond that. We're seeing people that have never used it look at it as the next logical add for perimeter security and for an effective security posture. So pretty excited to get into that. As you know, if you have questions along the way, utilize the chat feature and we will try to answer all of your questions. Brian confided to me offline that he's omniscient, so I'm sure there's nothing he can't handle. But for now, let's meet Productive in 1 minute. Well, who is Productive, you ask? Even though you're muted, I'm so glad you asked me. Productive is a corporation that provides security solutions for mid-size companies. We have a bunch of experts here, whether it's licensing or technical expertise, that we can help you. We do security assessments and help to define what your security posture is. We will help you with Active Directory security. We can configure and look at your firewall, gateway, or UTM. We also produce a lot of third-party content, such as the webinar you are on today. All of that can be found at productivecorp.com/content, as well as our YouTube channel. The bottom line is we have a bunch of resources to help you, whether it's implementation, assessment, licensing, or optimization services. We're here, help at productivecorp.com. It goes to every one of us, 612-375-0204. We are here to help. One of the ways that we do that is by bringing on our partners to help you understand their solutions. One of the areas we think that is really growing and very important for you to think about is multi-factor. It provides a great way to understand and keep secure all the constituents you're involved with, not only your employees, but it could be contracting partners, everybody. It is a very effective way to manage access and make sure the good guys get in and the bad guys stay where they should be, which is out. So to talk about Duo Beyond is Brian Atchison. Brian is with Duo. He was employee, I think he said number 360. Now they've doubled it. They're doing a double 360. They're over 720. Very fast growing company, one of the fastest growing security companies around, and for good reason. They have cool technology that helps you be more secure at a very valuable price point. So with that, and without further ado, let's give a warm virtual round of applause for Mr. Brian Atchison. Brian?
Great. Thanks, Todd. And actually, to kind of clarify a little bit, I am down here in Texas. I know a little bit about football, just enough to get myself in trouble, but deep down, I'm a hockey guy. So being that you're up that way, I'm actually a goalie, which kind of makes me a little bit unstable, I think people tell me.
Yeah.
But anybody that straps on pads for 80, 90 mile an hour slap shots can't be too sane. So, but that's my guilty pleasure on the weekends is men's hockey, beer league hockey. So
nothing wrong with that. I'm still a hockey player myself.
Love it. I love it. So, well, thanks for the intro. And I guess let's just kind of hop into this. So for anybody on the phone that's familiar with the name Duo, we've been around now for almost 9 years. And we honestly got started as providing the easiest to use multi-factor or two-factor authentication solution on the market. Back in the day, you know, you had like RSA Secure ID with those tokens that cost a fortune, and people hated carrying them, and the dog ate them, and so forth. And Duo was founded there in Ann Arbor to fix that, to give people an alternative. Let's use that cell phone that you have, that new smartphone that came out 9-10 years ago. Let's use that as your authentication method. And we hit it out of the park. I mean, of all the companies I've worked with in my almost 20 years, this one has the most cult following when it comes to a product that just works. It's easy, it works, and people love it. So we did really well in the SMB market, in the mid-size or mid-market range. And then over the past couple of years, we started moving into the enterprise. And with that, the market started changing, and we started noticing that multi-factor is key, but there was the next frontier, which for us is what we call zero trust. And I'm sure you've heard that through the market here recently. It was a buzzword at RSA conference this year. But zero trust, which is the days of, you know, protecting everything you own by firewalls and VPNs and all those kind of like moats around your castle. Those kind of sort of starting to kind of go away because there's so many people that are mobile. And so there has to be a way to start protecting organizations from all these mobile workers, people who are using iPads and phones versus a good old-fashioned desktop. And at the same time, apps are moving, right? So not all your apps are in-house. Some of them are moving to the cloud. A lot of them are moving to the cloud. So there's this whole thing of how do I protect myself and how do I protect the access to those? And that's where Duo's going. So Duo's going to build upon our amazing two-factor authentication experience, and we're going to expand that out now. We've been doing it now almost 2 years, where we're expanding it out to help you guys as customers protect yourself in this new frontier. Todd pointed this earlier. You've got vendors and contractors that might work for you now as you grow. You've got people that are using mobile devices versus desktops. I work remote in Dallas, Texas. I very seldom go to the office, so I'm always coming in from either a coffee shop, my home office, or the go-go in-flight internet on American Airlines. So I'm as mobile as they get, but at the same time, Duo is secure in knowing that I'm protected. My devices are protected. I'm who I am, and when I get access to Salesforce or whatever I'm going to, I'm protected as well. So if you can go ahead and hop to the next slide there. So building zero trust is a multi-step process, right? It just doesn't happen overnight. Some customers already have multi-factor authentication in place. Hopefully it's Duo. If not, I'll give you a little pass there. But the idea is there are different stages here in how you really embrace this whole zero trust or trusted access model. And we'll start with the bottom is confirming identities. So right there, number one at the bottom is multi-factor authentication. Again, hopefully it's Duo, but if not, we'll kind of give you a pass. But then after that, there's multiple steps here on how to fully protect yourself and embrace this zero trust model. And I'll kind of dive into each one of these. So if you can go to the next one. So first and foremost, it's identity. This is multi-factor, two-factor authentication. This is our bread and butter. This is what we've been doing since day one. The great thing about Duo is that 95% of all of our customers are using push technology, which is honestly just a simple app you download from the App Store. When you authenticate with your primary credentials, your username and your password into Office 365 or Salesforce, your mobile phone will light up. You'll get a request to either approve it or deny it. So is it you that is actually authenticating? And if so, you just click yes. We pass those credentials and you're authenticated. It all happens within multiple microseconds or milliseconds. The other cool thing is that if you don't want to use your phones, maybe you still have people who need a token, or maybe people like to use their Apple Watches, as you see here on the screen, we can do that. We can still send SMS codes, which aren't as secure now because they can be spoofed, but they're pretty solid, but we can support things like that. But the key here is making it easy for you and your customers, your employees, to authenticate. Don't make it a burden like RSA used to be. Make it easy so that they just adopt this new security mindset. Next one, please. So while that's happening, as your users are authenticating with that push technology, we're doing something else in the background. We're actually taking a look at the devices that they're using, be it the iPad, the iPhone, the Android device, the MacBook, whatever it is, and we're providing that data to you in a very nice, easy to consume dashboard. And this is all happening behind the scenes, totally invisible to your end users. They just authenticate, but at the same time, we're looking at those devices to see who's coming in from where. So who's accessing Salesforce? Is it those company laptops that you supplied last year? Or is it those laptops plus someone's home machine, someone's machine at a Hilton? Is it an Android phone that has been hacked so much that it's the nastiest phone in the world? Things like that. So we're going to start providing you data back to you to tell you who's hitting your networks. And this is really the eye-opener. Many of our customers think they have, say, 500 users. They buy 500 Duo licenses. They turn on this functionality and they see that they have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 devices that are trying to access their network. So it's a real eye-opener. Not saying those are all bad actors, but we are just saying it shows you where everything is coming from, and then in turn allows you as a customer to decide what type of rules you want to set. So you can go to the next one. So once you see it, once you know who's coming in and what devices they're coming in from, then you can start writing policy around it. You can say, look, I don't mind if you come in with your iPhone, but if you're going to do it, you got to have the latest version, which I think today is still 11.3.4 maybe, or 11.3.1. There's a new iOS 12 coming this fall. You got to have the latest and greatest. If you don't, I'm going to force you to go and update that device. Or I can write a big rule that says, you know what, if you're 4 or 5 out, we're going to kill it. We're just not going to let you come in until you really update that device. Or we're going to write a policy that says we don't want any jailbroken devices coming in at all. No ifs, ands, or buts. So really it allows you to kind of do a mobile device management type of play, but not as heavy-handed as, say, like a mobile iron or an AirWatch, things like that. So a lot of our customers are looking to do it to say, man, I already use you for multi-factor. Now can I use that technology to help me with my device management? Because it's easy. It's not, it's not another agent to put on a device. This is all done agentless and all done in the background. What you see here on the screen is, hey, I'm out of date 28 days on my laptop. Go fix it. And we actually help customers fix it. We show them how to click, let's update. We walk them through and teach them how to remediate. That way they don't have to pick up the phone, call your help desk while your help desk guys are off, trying to work on the firewall updates, or they're trying to do something else that's probably more pressing. We teach these guys how to help themselves. And the same thing is when I use my iPhone and I'm up to date, it's going to tell me with this cool little green thing that says, hey, look, you're up to date. It makes me feel good, right? It makes me feel like I have good security posture. But that's the whole point, is we want Duo to be easy for the end users to use so that there is no chance that they're ever going to open up and allow bad things to happen. All right, next slide, please. So now we know who you are, we know what device you have, we know kind of where you're going. Now you can write those policies. And this is where we go a little bit deeper. You can start doing things like geolocation. You can say, look, I don't want anything coming in from, we'll just pick on North Korea because it's easy. Or, hey, we can write some like geo velocity type things that say, hey, if you log in from Dallas, Texas, and then an hour later you're coming in from Germany, that's probably not possible. So that's probably something nefarious going on. So you can write alerts like that, and then you can shut activities down. Or if you want to do the total opposite and be a little bit more open, you could say, if you're on the corporate network for company XYZ, don't force them to authenticate. Just let them be on the corporate network because it's trusted. Let them get to the resource they need to get to, and let them be productive during the day. So there's a whole myriad of things you can do. And the great thing about Duo is we can help you. The guys at Productive and Duo working together can help you craft those, can help you show best practices on what policies work best for your organization, and we can help you do that. Go to the next one. And finally, we know who you are, what device, what policies are wrapped around those devices, what that device looks like. Now we can help you get to the applications you need to get to. This is something relatively new. We've had this about a year now, where Duo is actually providing our SSO. It's one of our single sign-ons to all of our customers. So if you don't have a single sign-on solution, or you're looking for one that's so simple to use because it integrates perfectly with Duo, we got something for you. It's literally just logging into what we call the access gateway. And once I get there, I've got access to all of my applications. Of course, this is just a screenshot of a perfect world, but I'll actually show you mine here shortly, but I have everything from like expense reports, tools, HR tools for like if I have to do interviews and things like that, all protected by our Duo SSO. And it's just a great way to kind of direct your customers, or your end users, to use that to get to Salesforce, use that to get to Box or whatever they're using. and just streamline the process. Another cool thing about this is maybe you don't need all the VPN licenses. I know years ago I used to work at Pulse Secure, and we wanted everybody and their dog to have a VPN license because it made Pulse Secure a lot more money. But as the world has changed and as things are changing, maybe you can, reserve those VPN licenses for your executives or your developers or finance. But the average Joe, just use Duo. Use Duo to know that that connection they're making and that connection to that application is secure, so you don't have to burn a VPN license there. Reserve those VPNs for the people who truly, truly need it. Next slide.
So yeah, we're rolling into checking out the live stuff. So I'm going to give you
perfect.
Control. As I'm doing that, can you tell me why somebody would choose Duo over, say, Microsoft Authenticator or Google Authenticator, or am I comparing apples to oranges?
No, that's a great question. So I don't have a slide on it, but let me just talk to it. So we run into
screen, by the way, so we're good.
Oh, great. Okay, so I would say our biggest competitors that we run into, there's probably a handful. Google Authenticators out there. We still use it internally because we are actually invested, or Google's an investor us. We use some of their stuff. We're a Gmail shop internally. I'll use it occasionally, but it's not very full-fledged. It's great for basic authentication, but it's not going to do the beyond story. It's not going to do zero trust, and it doesn't integrate with everything in the world. And that's kind of the same story with Microsoft. Microsoft's Azure MFA is honestly pretty solid if you're using it with the Microsoft stack, meaning you got O365, maybe you're trying to protect SharePoint, things like that.
Yeah.
But the second you start to step outside of it and say, hey, I want to integrate with my firewall, my next-gen firewall. I want to go out there and integrate with Splunk or some other SIM. That's where it starts to fall off because it's just not built for that. It's an acquisition they made probably 10 years ago, and they never really developed beyond it. Whereas Duo, we're a security company, and this is all we do. We make our money on integrations with other companies and making it easy for our customers to use our MFA.
Cool.
Is that a good answer? All right.
Yeah, no, I think it's good for me. I think that's solid. I think that's what people think about, right? Obviously, hey, because some people think, well, I have this, isn't that enough, right? And I think that tells them you got to be thinking about the whole picture.
Yeah, there's more you can always do. And sometimes customers that might have one app and they have Microsoft that honestly could be the best answer for them. But whenever they decide that, hey, they want to roll out more, that's when they probably need to have a conversation with you guys and bring Duo on, and we can kind of show them everything we can do. So,
gotcha. Perfect.
Well, let's hop into the first demo here, and I apologize for the very old-fashioned looking iPhone on this demo. This is canned. I'm hoping maybe they'll update it soon because I'm a big iPhone 10 user, and my Face ID has spoiled me. But in this case, imagine you're the end user. You got your MacBook here, and you're going to log into just Office. So you're going to put in your primary credentials. Now, one thing to note, Duo doesn't mess with those primary credentials. We don't touch them. We don't have anything to do with them. We can't do password resets. All we're doing is shimming ourselves in behind the work or into the workflow. So you're going to put your primary credentials in, and you're going to hit sign in like you normally would. And then this is where Duo inserts ourselves. We're going to give you a screen prompt. It's called the iframe, and you'll have, Acme logo could be company XYZ logo, but this is what your users are prompted with. We'll give you options. You can say, hey, which device do I want to authenticate to, my tablet or my iPhone? Do I want to just use the Duo push, which I said is 95% of the time, or I could have it call me, or I can have it enter a passcode. But in this case, I'm just going to do what most of our customers do, and they're going to click send me a push. And you'll notice it says login request has been pushed to your phone. And sure enough, my phone lights up. Now here's the old-fashioned part. I still got to put my passcode in. And this is kind of wonky, but I'm going to do this. Oh, now it brings up my app. And here's what your users are prompted with. It's like either green box, it's me, or red box, it's not. It's that simple, red or green. So in this case, I'm just going to hit green. It approves me. And you'll see on the screen here, it takes me right into email. So it's a very short demo, but it's a very powerful demo, just showing how easy it is not only to use the Duo, but also to implement it.
Does that come up like a badge though, right? With your either your fingerprint you can highlight on that notification on the lock screen, and then it'll do approve,
Yes.
deny.
Yes. So most of the time when I do it on my new phones, it pops up as a header, and I
Yeah.
just long press on it, and it says either approve or deny, and I click approve, and I'm done. So I
Yep.
never even get deeper into this.
Yep.
I just see. So, and you can set it up, hey, you must have Face ID turned on. You must have Touch ID. You must
Yep.
have fingerprint scan. All that can be put there.
Yep.
And I can approve it right from the lock screen.
Mm-hmm.
And there it goes. So that's the first demo. Let me show you another one. If you guys can see the new screen, this is what we call our unmanaged devices, meaning this is how you could write a policy that says, I only want my company-owned Windows laptops to be able to access my applications. So in this case, I'm going to try to log into Outlook. I'm going to click sign in. Oh, and I get shut down immediately. We're sorry, access is not allowed because you're using a personal device. So the point here is that you can really start writing those policies to say, Mr. End User, you can use your MacBook or your Windows device that we gave you to get to corporate assets, but you can't come in from Windows, grandma's Windows 95 machine. That probably has more viruses than anything in the world. We don't want that activity.
Or you'd limit it, right? Could come from a public computer, right?
Yeah, you're at the Hilton.
Working at the library on corporate stuff, but.
Exactly. So it just allows you, CubeSmart's one of our big customers that does storage facilities, and they bought 900 users of Duo. They thought that was what they needed. They turned it on. They saw 3,500, I think is the number, of random devices. Now, those weren't really random. They were phones or tablets used by their employees, but they weren't trusted. And so they wrote a simple rule that said from now on, you have to have a company laptop, or we have to, fully vet out that mobile device to make sure that it's legit, and we'll add it to the list of trusted devices.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing you can do. And then let me hop into our console real quick to kind of show you what the dashboard looks like. I'm going to log in here, and you won't see the authentication, but I'm going to ask it to send me a push. And it's going to come to my phone, login request. I'm going to click approve just now, and you'll see that was pretty darn quick. This is our console. This console is really the one-stop shop for Duo. On this main screen, you're going to see like how many endpoints I have. So in this case, 268 of them. I can click on that and dive deeper into what the breakdown is. How many are Mac? How many are Android? How many are trusted? And this is where your security team will really be able to see what's going on. How many have out-of-date plugins? This is a huge security flaw for people. We can help you find those. How many have out-of-date browsers? Who's using Chrome versus Edge? Ooh, man, Microsoft is not doing so well there, only 0 of them. But the idea is you can really start to see what's going on. You can see how many applications you're protecting. And this is where you would go to set up applications. So if you want to use Microsoft RDP and protect it, or O365, you can do that all from here. Trusted endpoints is where you can say, look, I don't want these people using anything but the MacBook I gave them. Then you can go in here, and if you're using Duo Beyond, which is our top of the line, you can actually push out a Duo cert to those devices to trust them. If the cert's there, you're trusted. If you're not there, then we're not going to let it on. And the last thing I like to show is phishing. So we actually have a phishing tool that is part of our solution here. You can write campaigns, run them internally, and hopefully start educating your end users on what phishing is and how not to fall for it. They do this to us all the time at Duo. You would think that we'd be pros by now, but every quarter they run this, there's still, I don't know, a good 50, 100 people who get caught. We start to put in our credentials, and IT comes and slaps us on the wrists. So we're learning, but it's just a cool tool and add-on that's available to our customers if you want to start using it.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
So does Duo have a solution for poor Active Directory passwords, like a password filter?
We don't. And the reason we don't is that we don't really involve ourselves with the identity piece of it, the primary credentials. The reason being is that we've always been kind of a second factor guy, and we don't want to put all of the security eggs in one basket. We want to leave that to the guys that are really good at AD, the guys like maybe Ping or Okta, the identity providers, for them to play with. Yep. And use Duo as that second factor to protect all that stuff. So kind of that layered security approach.
And then this is kind of a, well, similar, well, different question, but do you guys, is there any difference in the multi-factor? I saw a bunch of Mac stuff on there between, Mac OS, Windows, or Android and iOS. Is there any different,
No,
because sometimes like in endpoint security, the way it's protected, it is a little bit different, and sometimes there's less access because of Apple for MacBooks and that sort of thing.
yeah, no, I would say Duo is got all bases covered.
Okay.
So I think we even go as far as Linux, Unix, and some of those things for some of our more developer savvy folks who love those platforms. We can support it all.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's something cool coming here probably in the next couple of months, but it's a better login process for the desktop auth. So you can start using Duo to actually log into your Windows and MacBooks. You can put authentication around that process if you like. But yeah, honestly, we support pretty much anything that's out there.
Cool. That's fantastic. Anything else to show us? We got a couple more minutes, or we can wrap it up if you're done.
I think from a demo perspective, we're good. Are there any other questions that we should hit on, or do we want to wrap it up?
Well, yeah, just I would say what's the kind of, when you show partner or show customers Duo, or they're learning about it, what's kind of the one or two things that they're like, hey, I this is really valuable to me, or what's the aha moment that you've
Oh,
experienced?
okay. Yeah, great question. So I would say the number one thing that customers key off on first is just ease of use, ease of deployment, ease of configuring policies, and ease of pushing it out to their customers. So a lot of our customers will want to do like a proof of concept, right? And so most people hear the word POC and they start, getting headaches because they're like, oh God, here we go again. It's going to take months or weeks. With Duo, we can stand it up, depending on the complexity of what you're trying to protect, we can stand it up in a matter of minutes. Worst case, maybe a day. It's honestly that quick. Duo, while we're talking about that, let me go to this one site while I'm talking, duo.com/docs. This is a page that's open to everybody, but this is where to go to learn more about us, where to go to find out, hey, I do a lot of business with, let's say, F5. I can click on this, and I'm an F5 customer. Here's how you use Duo and how you integrate the two. It's a step-by-step process, A to Z. It's amazing what we can do. Hey, I'm Office 365. I want to protect it. Let's click on Office 365, and we're going to walk you through. So it's ease. It's transparency between Duo and our partners and our customers, that we're here to help you make it easy for you to do. The second thing that customers key off on is speed to security, is what we call it. So the ability to say, look, I'm going to call up Todd and the productive team today, and I can have Duo fully purchased and deployed by Monday. I can get protected by Monday. I can have everything wrapped up, all these holes filled by Monday, versus, hey, this is a 6-month process. It's a very fast process. It's speed to security and speed to protection.
Okay, cool. Well, that's fantastic. I think that's good. A good note to wrap it up on. Really appreciate your time today, and I appreciate the time of everybody who came to learn about Duo. I know you guys have a lot of stuff on your plate, so 30 minutes with us, much appreciated. So thank you so much for taking the time. We'll have the account execs follow up. The best way to talk about Duo and find out more is to understand how you would utilize it, and then we can direct you a custom demo, get your resources that you need as you're evaluating Duo, or thinking about evaluating the Duo solution. So Brian, thank you for a fantastic demo. Really appreciate the presentation today. And us from Productive, we'll be in touch. So right now, I'm Todd Obert from Productive, along with Brian Atchison of Duo Security, signing off, saying have a fantastic balance of your day and week, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.